Good morning. Hey, welcome to our training here today. My name is Kirk Duncan, and what a great opportunity this is going to be to expand the mind and the understanding. Hey, if you will, jump in the chat box and say hi. I see that some of you have already jumped in there and looking good. Good morning to you too. How's my microphone working? Always got to make sure. I don't know if you've ever done a webinar before, but if you've done a webinar and you get about 5-10 minutes into it, and then the people are in the chat box going, "We can't hear you," because your mute button is on. You can hear me? Okay, great. Thanks, Corky. Thanks, Ashley. Let's see who else is on here. Earl's on here. Shauna's on here. Kimberly. Oh my goodness, the names are flying by fast. Hi, Sheree. Hi, Brooke. Hi, Amanda. Hi, who else? Pam. Alicia. James. Daniel. Daniel, what are you doing? And then Marilis. I don't know how to say that name. Mimi says hi. Oh, okay, that's easy. Thanks for sorting that out. Hi, Deborah. Oh, good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. Great to be with you. Today is going to be mind-opening. Let's just put it that way. I have been working on this content and thinking about my personal experiences. And this is so good. I was up, like, it was 2:30 and I was like, I've got to go to bed. I've got to go to bed. But I could have literally stayed up all night, except there's this thing called sleep. Like, really? Why do we have to sleep, right? I know it's because of like healing, and you got to like give your body a chance. And I understand and I respect sleep. But then there's creativity, right? When your ideas are coming together and you just are so excited to share what you've learned with other people. Oh, it's just so cool. It is so cool. So I have put together some great insight of my journey over the last 18 years of being a facilitator, a coach, and literally starting out with what I thought was zero credibility. Like, who am I to think I could teach people? I mean, wait till you hear the story. Oh, it's so crazy. But it's like, wait a minute. Imposter syndrome affects like 80% of people. 8 out of 10 people are just beat up and hammered on by imposter syndrome. The feeling and the thoughts that we don't have the right to do what we're doing. Like, we just don't. And it's not just the beginners. Even people in professional positions report to their therapists and counselors of imposter syndrome that even holds them back after they've had success. And I know about imposter syndrome. I mean, it's like a mind wrestle. But today we're talking about how to establish your credibility so that you can take the action that you're inspired to do, what you know you could do to make a difference and be able to do a great work. And so got some great things for you here. I'm going to suggest to you right now, you're going to want to have a pad of paper or a notepad or something, because you're going to get some great insight, and not only from what I'm going to say, but mainly because this is going to open up your mind and really bring in some incredible insight to answer those questions that have gone on unanswered. Do you know what I mean? Like, today, answers are going to happen. So be prepared to document those answers and insights that you've been looking for. Because I know how this works. Once we get together like this and we're talking and we're opening up the thought process, it's just going to make sense to you. And you want to capture it right when it happens. Don't think you can go like an hour or two after this presentation and think, oh, you'll remember it. There's going to be so many things. So prepare yourself with a pad of paper, your phone. I know some of you like to take screenshots or pictures of the things they show on the screen, which, believe me, there'll be some great things for you to do there to be able to remember what I'm sharing with you. But just be prepared to catch it in the moment, because if the moment's gone, it's all gone. So as we activate and turn on the mind to be creative, and to have that genius wake up inside of you, it's just going to make so much sense. Cool. All right. So let's get going here. Hey, and the chat box, thank you for activating that. The Q&A box, I call it a box because when I like click on my Zoom bar, it's like this little round cornered little box. So I call it the box. So there's the chat box, but then there's also a Q&A box or button. I guess that's another way to call it, button. That Q&A button, if at any point during my presentation you have a question, go ahead and click the Q&A button in your Zoom bar and type in your question. Because at different points, I can stop and look at the questions and see, and I also can review them as I'm going along. And just so you know, we're going to have a moment during this presentation where I'm going to turn the mic on and I'm going to talk to some of you and answer some of your questions live. So we're going to have some real live dialogue here today. Is that going to be cool? That'll be fun, right? It'll be totally fun. So we're going to have some real live dialogue, mind-opening experiences, and get answers to those questions that you've been pondering on. That's going to be a great morning. So well-invested time. I'm not going to waste any of it with any of what I have. Everything I have for you now in this presentation is going to benefit you in moving you forward and moving you upward. And most importantly, giving you the courage to take that next step. I know how that feels, believe me. Okay, so credibility. I just want to talk here just for a second. Credibility, right? Like there's so many different ways to think about credibility. And there's so many things out there, so many people out there talking. When they talk about credibility, they all have their different angle, their different point of view. So a little bit of my angle with this is that my plan here is to take my jumbled experiences over the last 18 years and actually put it in order for you. So I've had some jumbled experiences about credibility. Lots of things I've learned and tested and tried and what really matters. And you know how time goes along and you get smarter on some things, you know, and some things you probably wonder, like, am I even smarter on this? But we gain some wisdom along the way. And then we reflect back on what we did and we realize, oh, I kind of did that a little backwards. So I'm not going to present to you a linear step-by-step on how to build credibility the way I did it, because there were some pieces that were a little out of order. But over the years, as I've reflected back, I see what really mattered. Because I tried certain things that just didn't work. And you probably are doing the same thing. You're probably doing certain things like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. No. Because people don't tell where you really ought to start with credibility. They don't talk about it. It's always this other, and you'll see, because I'll show you. They always talk about this other side of credibility, but they never talk about this side of credibility. And that's what I want to help you understand, because when I started, I was kind of like an underdog, right? I high school graduate, barely trying to make things work. And so I didn't understand, and I didn't have a lot of teachers in my life when I first started. And so I wasted a lot of time. I did, because I just didn't know. So I was trying to be a do-it-yourselfer, and I honor do-it-yourselfers, but come on, there is wasted time. Sure, you learn, but you could have gotten further. I mean, do-it-yourselfer, it's like, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, you get experience in that, but if you could just be taught, you could get so much further. So yes, I honor do-it-yourselfers, but come on, we need to admit the fact that, yeah, you learn, but you're still slower than the person who already knew what to do. It's just slower. So, yep, I was a do-it-yourselfer, but today I'm going to show you in order. If I could go back, if I could build that time machine in my garage, and I could get in that time machine and go back about 18 years ago, and I could take what I know now and do it in order. Wow. Whoa. Oh, right? So since I don't have a time machine, I know I tried with cardboard and some tape and it just didn't work. But since I don't have a time machine, I can give you the information, right? So if I give it to you, then where you're at, you'll have a better chance than I did. You'll go faster, move faster, have more progress than I did. And that brings a smile to my face. The fact that you could like speed up and go faster, further, farther than I did, or where I am right now. I mean, it'd be super cool to see you fly past me in my progress and my success. That would just be so cool. It's like, whoa, there you go. That's awesome. So today, my hope is that you listen and you capture the inspiration and insights that you're going to get, and you track this and you pay attention to what's going on here, because this, without credibility in your head, in your soul, in your life, you hesitate and procrastinate like crazy. You're kind of chicken. Oh, I was thinking about grabbing a can of chicken. I got to do that next time. That'd be funny. Can of chicken. I'm not calling you chicken. I'm just saying chicken. You know what I'm talking about. It's just, you're going to do something, but you're just afraid, and you make up all these stories. And do you know that one time, sorry, tangent. So listen to this. This one time I was teaching a class. There's about 350 people in it, because I've taught classes now for seminars and webinars now for 18 years. And I was doing live seminars every month for 15 years. And in one of those classes, I was teaching people how to do presentations, like do group presentations. And this guy stood up, and he did have some fears, but it wasn't like deep fears. It was just like, like level 1 fears, like you're just being a little chicken. So I called him that. I said, hey, I think you're being chicken. And he's like, what? And I literally had this prepared. And I said, hold on a second. So I went to my bag and I pulled out a can of chicken and I gave it to him. And he's like, what's this for? I go, here, you can have it. A can of chicken. I know this is terrible, right? I know I did this in a group presentation, but everybody was like, what? Did you just give that guy a can of chicken? And I go, I know, but well, hold on. Let me just explain this to him. I go, you're holding a can of chicken. And I'm nothing against chickens, nothing against him. I just was like calling it out. You really could be doing something. And he goes, yeah, I know. And I go, you're capable. Yeah, I know. You know what to do. Yeah, I know. Are you in deep fear? No. Do you have any drama that's stopping you? No. He goes, I admit it. I'm just kind of chicken. And so then I went to my bag and I handed him a can opener. And he's like, what's this for? I go, this is so you can open it. And he goes, what? Why you give me a can of chicken and a can? I go, so you have this. And he's like, we're having this moment, or he's having this connection moment to the fact he really didn't know what to do, and he could do it. He just hasn't done it for some, kind of some reasons that you just have to just go and do it. You just have to do it. And he just wasn't right there. He was just having these and he admitted kind of some not really big obstacles. So I gave him a can of chicken and a can opener. And he goes, well, what do I do with this? And I said, when you get home, open it and put it on your dresser. And he goes, okay. And I said, then as soon as you do the action step that you're avoiding, then you can either, hopefully it's soon, so you can then eat the chicken, doesn't go to waste. Or if you don't do your action step, then the can of chicken just sits there. I know, it's crazy. But the audience is like, what? Are you serious? It's like, what? But I wanted to bring the attention. I wanted to get everybody's attention that sometimes we just need to do it. So as I show you this credibility training and I show you what the steps are, none of this is going to work. This is not something you just watch and then all of a sudden it happened in your life. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work to get a bunch of education and sit on it. It doesn't work. Now, I could send you a can of chicken if you need one. I could send you a can opener out of love. It's totally out of love. I could send you a can of chicken and a can opener and have you open it to remind you, take an action step, do something. Now, sometimes people like to jump on webinars and, go read books and read articles and stuff and just consume information. And then they don't do anything. And it's the same with this. I'm about ready to open your mind to exactly what to do to change your psychology about credibility, to get you over or through, or at least partway through the imposter syndrome that you're in. And it's going to help you move only if you do it. Now, I broke it down into simple steps, easy, simple steps. Now, I'm going to show you a lot. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. But don't worry, I'm a trainer. I'm a trainer. How I do this is not, I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to train you. Now, if I was a fitness trainer, I'd be like showing you how to do the exercises. But I am a mental trainer. I'm a mind trainer. So I'm going to teach you what to do to change the way your mind functions so that you can change your results. Because if you don't change what's going on in here, it doesn't change out here. I hope that sinks in someday for you, that you can do all the busy work you want, but you're just spinning circles. You're just running around in circles, just being busy. Who cares that you're busy? What about productive? How about you grow into the stage of productive? Oh, but Kirk, you don't understand. No, you don't understand that your busy mind is running on the same program it was running on when you were 16 years old. You got to upgrade the way you think. Got to upgrade the way you approach life. And that's called mindset. That's how you look at things, how you process things, how you make decisions. And today I'm going to train you, I'm going to mind train you on where to look. And that's what I'm great at, is I know where to look and what to adjust. I'm a mind mechanic. That's what I do. A person shows up, I look and see what's going on. I show them exactly the part that's not functioning well. I give them steps and training and a system to be able to fix that, adjust that, strengthen that, replace that. They do the work, bam, their mind functions better. I'm a mind mechanic. I help fine tune the machinery in people's minds, because when your mind works better, you do better. And then you experience better. That's how it works. So it's all in here, right? And that's between the ears. It's this 6-7 inches between your ears that you're learning how to master. So today, what I'm sharing with you, consider that you're going to pick your next step. So throughout everything I share with you and everything you see, I'll bring it down to what your next step is. And when you see that next step, I suggest you choose in and you get it done as soon as possible. If you don't, you are an information hoarder. Did I just call you a hoarder? I just did. You're an information hoarder, and you're just stacking it up all over in your house. And for what? You think that's going to bring success? No, it's not. You're an information hoarder if you don't take action on this. So I will show you exactly what to do. I'll show you the screen. I'll show you the steps. I'll show you exactly what it is. You don't even have to come up with it. But your work is to get it done as soon as possible. And it's so doable. I mean, I've really prepared a great presentation for you here, very, very detailed in how this works to build your credibility. But if you don't do your steps, do I need to come over to your house? maybe that's what you'll do, is you're like, I'm not going to do my steps. Maybe Kirk will come over. Right? Well, it would be cool to sit at your kitchen table with you. It really would. It'd be cool to hang out with you every single week. It really would, because I would totally dive into your life. I would be so interested. I just find people to be so interesting, because wherever you're at, I could totally help you get to the next level of results. Whatever it is you're doing, doesn't matter what you're doing. I can help you. I'm a mind mechanic, and so I can help you. That's so cool. But okay, so here we are. I'm either on your phone or your computer, and I'm with you. So this is for you. I built today for you to help you with your credibility. And don't worry, I'm not going to give you a can of chicken. This is, even though it would be a great thing for you to like really check in here, right? All right. Okay. So out of all the love that I have here this morning to share with you, and today's a beautiful, sunny, blue sky day after our snowstorm in April we just had. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to share with you what's going on here. So I created a company called Three Key Elements, and the triangle, circle, square have a big story behind them. And I'll have to share that with you another day. But there's a lot of symbolism, a lot of meaning, a lot of story behind this. And part of the three key elements is connection. The blue circle in the middle is all about connection. And today we're talking about how to build your credibility. And so in the emails that we sent out to you, you saw these bullet points. And just so you know, you can trust us as a company that when we send out an email and we say, this is what we're going to share with you, that's what you're going to get. This is not a bait and switch. Like, oh, I just said that to get you here to tell you something else. No, I'm here seriously to train you. Anytime you work with three key elements or take any of our courses or any of our training, you will get exactly what we said you would get. That's why we're still here 18 years later. That's why we didn't dry up at year 3. That's why at year 7, when most businesses fail, we were still here because we do what we said we would do. And when we say you're going to get this, we give that to you. So we don't exaggerate what it is you're going to get. You get what we say. So these bullet points are in the emails that you received about this webinar, and you're going to get all of this and more, because you saw that last bullet point that says and more. You better believe it. You're going to get more. It's just how I roll. But you can count on us to always deliver what we said we're going to deliver. And that's how you've been able to be here for 18 years and still have amazing people to work with all over the world. I love it. I absolutely love it, because it's important to me that there's loyalty and there's integrity and there's honesty. And every person on my team also lives by these values and these principles. That's why we're here. It's why we do what we do. We're here to help people. And the best way to help people is to be honest, to have integrity, to do what we said we're going to do, and to do a really good job. And if we mess up, we fess up. We own it, right? We own it. And then we fix our system or fix what we did, and we correct what happened. But I love my team. I love what we stand for. I love what we do. It literally is a mission of joy. Absolutely a mission of joy. And what a privilege it is to be in front of you today. What an honor it is to have technology that literally you and I could connect this morning, and I could share this with you this morning. So I want you to know everything that was said, you're going to get. So here we go. So as we talk about credibility, like I said, there's different phases and different parts to this. But what's crazy is even though we are going through life, there are times that as we go through life, we literally can trip and fall, right? We can trip and fall, trip and fall, trip and fall. And even though we trip and fall, we could get to the point where we feel like we're going to just fall. But maybe while we are stumbling and tripping and, doing our work along the way, maybe it's time that we actually benefit from our efforts. And instead of it being always a crash and burn, what if we could take some of our experiences and actually turn them into incredible learning opportunities, which then send us literally into this feeling of like, wow, we can do anything. And so as we talk about credibility and you're thinking, oh, I've done this before, Kirk. I don't think you've done it this way before. So if you feel like you have zero credibility, if you feel like you got nothing, or maybe you have credibility and you're looking at how do I build it more, I've got answers for you all the way across the board. Okay, so here's my credibility screenshot. Now, this is something I use in webinars, right? I have a picture of my wife and I have my name on the screen. I do have a company. I don't know if you've established a company with your coaching business or your training company or what you've built. I hope you develop a business name and then you pick a fun picture about yourself. And then I put up here this, this little banner thing that says make a difference. And then you probably, I don't know if you've been seeing some of my other webinars, and then I list some different things that build my credibility. Now, this is where I'm at today. But I'll tell you, as soon as part is over, it's not where I started. Okay, it's not where I started. So how did I get 18 years of training and mentoring? Well, it's because I started. And then I kept track of how many months, how many years I've been doing this. And so you can build this piece of credibility, this data point of credibility, but you got to start, right? And it also means that you get to like look over your life and go, what have I done? How many years have I done this? How many years have I done that? Every single one of those things that you've done with a certain number of years gives you a level of credibility. And then I've done live seminars, webinars, and keynote speaking. So I list that because I did it. So what did you learn from that bullet point? Sometimes you got to go do things so you can say you did them. That makes sense, right? It's like, oh, well, what have you done? Do you do webinars? Do you hold one-on-one appointments? Do you, make videos? How many videos have you made? Do you work with clients one-on-one, a group? You list these things. You give them value. Over the last 18 years, I've created 41 different training programs. So I put that in there. To some people, that matters. To some people, it doesn't. Next, I do have YouTube. I do have people who get on this webinar literally from the islands. I'm not kidding. I have people from islands in the middle of the ocean who jump on these webinars. And then I've been on the phone with coaching. And I've coached people all over the world. It's crazy. With the way it is today, you can literally have a global audience so fast. And you put that on your list of credibilities. And then you make videos, YouTube channel or Instagram or training videos, and then you add them up. Now, 505, I think the last time I counted 505 is probably about 4 years ago. I need to do a recount because it's probably twice that many by now. Okay, then I count up how many hours of experience I've had in coaching, training, teaching, and I add those hours up. You could do the same thing. I know a person that I was coaching and they're like, I've never done anything. And I said, wait a minute, how many kids do you have? And they said 9. I said, you got to put that on there. You've raised 9 children. And they're like, well, that's not important. I'm like, no, it's all important. It's all important. Okay. Delivered over 6,100 presentations. How do I know that? Because I counted them. And we'll talk more about this. I'm just reviewing this with you. And then I've given scholarships away over the last 18 years. And I've added up how much in scholarships I've given. And it's over $3.5 million in scholarships. So what do? You give some of your programs or your training or free appointments. So every time you do a free appointment, that's a scholarship. Because your coaching is like $500 an hour, or maybe your coaching is $1,200 for your program. Every time you do coaching and you give that program away for free, that is a scholarship. And so you add that up. So you can start to add up how much in scholarships you've given. So every time you do a free coaching, you let the person know, hey, I'm going to do a free training with you, and I'm going to scholarship this to you. The program normally is $1,000, but I'm going to scholarship this to you, and we're going to hold 4 appointments. And so now you add that to your scholarship list. Free is not just something that's just invisible. You count it. You count those free appointments. They have credit. They have value. Because what are you going to say to people? What are you going to say? I've held 35 free appointments. That doesn't even make sense. People don't understand that. But if you say, yeah, I've done $35,000 in scholarships, they're going to be like, holy smokes, what? $35,000 in scholarships? They're going to be like, wow. It's a number. It has a dollar value. You have to count and add things up to be able to go, oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. Then TV. We did not go looking for TV. We had a friend, or actually a client that was in our classes, came to us and said, hey, we got a connection with TV. You want to get on TV? Yeah. And then whatever you do, podcast, TV, whatever you do, add those up. You know what? I've never even added up all my podcast appearances. That's another thing I could add to this. Sheesh. And then I like throwing this in, clean language. because there's so many people who use foul language as some kind of coaching mechanism. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Like this one time, I was at this class and the facilitator up front was using the F word. Like it was, I don't even like saying that, but because I just, foul language is not necessary. It's just not. And so the facilitator is using foul language and sitting in the same row as us. We were sitting on like the 5th row. And I was like kind of getting tired of it. And what happened was, in the same row, there was a mom and probably like a 14-year-old was sitting there, a mom and a 14-year-old. And I kept looking at them as the facilitators up front just cussing like a lot. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, talk like a human being. Like, give us actual instruction. Don't just like barrage us with all this negativity of foul language. And so the facilitator came off stage, walked up to the 14-year-old and said, hey, I want to talk to you for a minute. So the facilitator gave the 14-year-old a microphone, and the facilitator said, hey, what do you think of this class so far? And the 14-year-old stood up with the microphone and just rattled off a bunch of cuss words to describe how much he liked the class. But he used like, what, 3-4 different cuss words, foul language. And I just shook my head. I was like, what is going on? Like, come on, let's talk like normal people. And then the facilitator said to the 14-year-old, he said, you shouldn't use foul language, and took the microphone away and walked away. I was like, oh, it's like you don't even see what you're doing. So I just want you to know, you're not going to hear foul language from me. You're just not. For me or any of my team, we just don't do that. And I think that's a credibility point. It's like a standard or let people know it's a safe environment. Because in this world today, people are a little cautious and they're like, I don't know about this. I don't know where this is going to go. So you add that to your credibility pieces, like this, like a screenshot, or maybe it's a flyer, or a handout, or a bio, just so people know, oh, this would be safe for my teenagers. Or like right now, if your kids are in the background, like in the kitchen, and you're sitting there at the kitchen table and they're in there making breakfast or, whatever they're doing, it's okay what they hear. It's not going to be off color. It's not going to be, tainted with these words. And you don't have to be concerned and edgy. You actually can listen and actually open up and trust what's happening. And that's what people are looking for today in wanting to know your credibility is, are they going to be safe? Can they trust you? And that's what they're looking for. So this is my way of like showing you where I'm at right now. And this is all added up over the last 18 years because I stuck with it and I'm doing my thing and trying to do the best I can. And so then I just add this up, and every day, every week, every month you do something, you add it up. You count what you've done. You take inventory. And then you give that inventory of what you counted that you've done so far or experienced so far, that it's important, it's valuable, because your life is super valuable. It's incredible because it's like your life is the only one of those existent on the planet. It's absolutely priceless. Right? Now, along the way, sometimes there's different things that you could apply for. There's different things that you could qualify for. And then if you're on TV or you win certain awards or you join certain groups, there's logos you can use that always add to the value or the credibility from a visual standpoint. I think I was in, either myself or my wife was in Forbes magazine, I think 4 times, but I don't put it on here 4 times. And just all the different things. I don't put everything on here because then it's kind of like, okay, way too much. But you can put things on here because it just gives some visual parts. And if you're like, well, I don't have any of that, Kirk. Well, at this point, it's okay. And you could look around and go, wow, what could I try for or try to qualify for? And to try to see what you could do. And it's you're setting that as a goal, not as like you have to have it. It's not like you have to have the things here at the bottom of the screen, because watch this. I'll take all that off, right? Does this still have credibility? Yeah, it does. And what does this picture do? Does this picture say, I'm happy? Does it say like, I think I love what I do? It's like the picture gives a lot of credibility too. So you can get some pictures of you, not like those like serious poses. Unless you want a serious pose, I guess you can do whatever you want, right? You can, of course, do whatever you want. But your picture says 1,000 words. What is it saying? And if you haven't picked a business name yet, that gives you credibility too. A business name with some kind of, logo, and you just keep it simple, something easy, but every single one of these pieces just adds up. It just comes together. A picture, you track what's going on, you get your business name, a logo to go with it, and look at all that. And then if you do something, like if you're on TV or a podcast, ask them, hey, can I show your business name on this podcast? Can I put that on my screen of credibility? And many people be like, yeah, that'd be cool. Put it on there. Like I said, I don't have all of them on here because I'd have like a full entire screen of them, but I just pick a few, just a few, and you see that there's 6, different symbols there at the bottom. It's enough for them to go, oh, all right, he's somebody, he's doing something. So I hope that helps just in that little bit of review, but I'm going to go through in more detail here the different types of credibility. And what I mean by that, we're going to cover these different types of credibility. That's what we're going to be getting to, the meat in what we're talking about. And we're getting closer. So another thing I like to show is the different things that I've created. Like here's some of the classes that I've created. Now, for some people, they're like, so what? For other people are like, wow, look at all those classes. Look at all those programs. And every one of these programs generated anywhere from $150,000 for that program up to like actually $3-4 million for each one of those programs with the registrations and all the things that have happened. I love creating classes. I love content. I love delivery. I love making a difference in people's lives. And like I said, I could help you, in so many different areas. So showing pictures of you in action, like if you ever get in front of an audience or get invited to speak, get pictures of you from the back of the room, of you up in front, get different angles, and if you do any trainings in your home, get a picture of that. Even if it's 4 or 5 people, get pictures of you up front. If you ever go on TV, be sure to get pictures of the TV thing, the good, like whatever TV station you're on, or if you're on a podcast, man, I'm thinking of a bunch of the things I could put on here, but because I have different podcasts I've been on, and you could just get pictures of it. And then as you go and do it more, you could add it all together. Like these are a small snapshot of the different TV pieces that we've had. So whatever you do, get pictures, because it definitely gives them a perspective, whoever your audience is, that you're out, you're in front of people, you're real, you're touchable, you're tangible. And it just literally adds up. And if you're like, but Kirk, I haven't spoke in front of an audience. Well, then go do it. Get some people together, get them over to your house, gather people together, teach them something, get somebody in the back of the room to take pictures. You go create the moment so you can have the picture and the credibility. You have to create the moments, right? It doesn't just come to you in the mail. You got to think, wow, what do I want to do? And no matter how big the audience is, no matter if it's in your home or at an event center or a podcast or whatever you're doing, get pictures of it. Get pictures. Every time a picture has 1,000 words connected to it in what you're doing and how it's happening. For example, this picture. Did you know that when I first got married, this single axle camper trailer, we lived in a single axle camper trailer when Kim and I first got married. We didn't live in a house, not even an apartment. We lived in a single axle camper trailer, right? Single axle camper trailer. We came back from our honeymoon, completely forgot that we should find some place to live. Like we had not even picked any place or had any place. And now is like the next step of our life. And we should figure this out. And her dad had a single axle camper trailer. And we're like, okay, I guess this is where we're living. And so we lived in that for a couple of days. Isn't that funny? So even pictures of where you started, like go back to where you started. Like even as a kid, even as a kid, I took off all my kid pictures. Even as a kid or as a teenager, showing where you've been and what it was like, and then showing where you're at just gives that contrast of like Kirk Duncan started out in, living in Utah in a single axle camper trailer, and now he's a global trainer. I know, right? It's like, wait, we got single axle camper trailer and we got on TV, and then we have huge audiences that I taught and create all these programs and have all this stuff, right? That I've done. But that's where I started. I didn't have a job. And we had no place to live, but I just got married. Isn't that beautiful? What a romantic story. Okay, give me click the raise the hand button if you think that's a little romantic. Don't you think that's a little romantic? I mean, it's not the like running across the field kind of romantic, but it must have been pure love, right? Because it was a single axle camper trailer and I didn't have a job. But I did have like $100 when I got married. I think I had $100. And that's about all I had. No job, $100. I did have a horse. And a saddle and a bridle. But I didn't bring the horse with me. But I had my $100, my box of stuff. I did not own a car when I got married. When I got married, no car, no job, $100, had a horse, a saddle, and all those little accessories. But she still married me. So it was true love, right? It was true love. Does that have any credibility? To some people, it's romantic. To some people, it's endearing. To some people, to see where I started and then to see where I am is inspiring. But not to all people, but to some people. So with credibility, you also have realness, like really where you started. And you might need to go back and get pictures. You might need to dig through your photo album or your phone or your computer and find some of those beginning pictures, like the first day of getting married. Because like if you're going to teach people about couples and how to get through arguments or fights or those kind of things, you might want to get pictures of when it was when you first got married or dating. They're just fun because they add credibility. They add life to who you are. Part of credibility is they get to know who you are and they start to like you. First they get to know you, then they like you, then they trust you. Know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. But if I don't share that it's a single axle camper trailer where I started, they wouldn't know that. I'd have to show it to them, right? So showing different parts of your life gets them a chance to know you. And then they start to hear like, wow, he's human. He's like one of us, it's this human side. And so it helps with the know and the like part, which then can lead to the trust part. And that's where true credibility finally like solidifies, is through that know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Okay. So I don't know if you know this or not, but some of the first classes I ever taught was about this. This was the picture that I put on my wall to help me learn how to use vision boards. This was the picture. That's all I had on my vision board was this picture. I had kneeled down and I had prayed. Now, I'm going to tell you the story really quick. So I was struggling, right? I was financially struggling, mentally struggling, socially struggling. I had so many struggles. And I had been kneeling down and talking to God and just going, God, you got to help me. Like I'm really messed up. And I finally took a pad of paper with me when I would go pray. And so that way, if I heard an answer or if I thought I heard an answer, I'd write it down because I wanted to show God I was like really trying to listen. And this one day I was kneeling next to my bed, and it had been days and weeks that I had been praying for help. And I finally, I was like really intense in my prayer, just like, God, are you listening to me? You know, I was like, I really need help. And I was really just calling out for help because I didn't know what to do. It was just, everything was going downhill. And I was being very clear, very direct, not mad or upset or anything. I was just like, okay, here's my problems. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. That's what I said in my prayer. I will do whatever you tell me to do. And that's when I heard, it's kind of wild how it happens, but you hear like this voice, right? It's like kind of like how you're hearing me right now. It's like, it was a voice. I heard a voice say, you have a part of your mind that isn't working. You need to practice visualization. Get a picture, put it on the wall, and start learning how to visualize. And I literally sat there with my pen on the paper, like, what did he just say? Like, what was that? And then he said, and get it done now. And I felt like God, like, put that urgent energy on me. I jumped up, I ran into the kitchen. I was digging through the mail, looking for something to have as a goal. Like I was randomly picking. And there was this ad and this camera, and I'm like, oh, I've always wanted a video camera. I guess this is going to be it. And I tear it out of the little flyer thing, a magazine thing. I run out in the garage. I grab some construction painter's tape. I run back in my bedroom and I tape that picture on the wall. And I tape it on the wall because that's what God told me to do. Like he's like, because I knew a little bit about goal posters and a little bit about vision boards because I had heard some things about it, but I wasn't using it. But God's answer was like, you have a problem in your brain and you need to do this and you got to fix what's in your head. And so the urgency, I ran and did all that. I slapped it on the wall. And that's the picture that was on my wall. That's the literal picture, was a picture of this video camera. And I had no clue how to visualize. I had no clue how to use a goal poster, a vision board, visualization, using the power of intention or the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. To me, it was a bunch of woo-woo, hocus pocus stuff. I just thought it was a bunch of weirdo stuff. But now, like, God actually is telling me, you got to do this. So I start out with this, right? And so every day I would stand in front of this picture on the wall and try to figure out how to visualize. And I'd go look things up and try to figure out how people are doing this. And it hurt my head because it just wouldn't do anything inside my head. Day after day, though, I started to figure out a little bit about this, and I was completely clumsy, right? Totally awkward, clumsy in how to do this. Well, about a week and a half after I'd put this on my wall, one of my neighbors called me up and said, hey, I got a little side job. I need some help in the backyard. If you come over and do this side job, I'll pay you for it. And I said, oh, okay. Well, what does that look like? And they go, oh, like, how about $150? And I was like, what? $150? Yeah, I don't have food. My kids need shoes. That'd help me buy food and maybe pay a bill and get a pair of shoes for my kids because they like have major holes in them. I'm like, this sounds great. So then I go do the side job. And then when I'm doing this side job, I'm like, wait a second. I think my video camera on the wall, imagining this picture actually created this money-making opportunity so I could get this camera. So I earned the $150. I go back home and I tell Kim that I earned this $150. And she's like, great, we can buy food and we can get the kids a pair of new shoes. And I had to explain to her that this $150 is going to go towards my camera. And it was this big argument. It just blew up. It just blew up. Like, here I'm going to buy some frivolous thing and I don't have food and my kids need shoes. It's like, what am I doing? Like, this is stupid. This is stupid. But inside me, it's like, no, I have issues. I have issues and I've got problems. And I got this problem. And And I need to change my brain. And this is a part of the process of changing my brain. And if I go get this camera, then what happened was I picked a picture, I put it on the wall, I visualized it. and then the opportunity showed up. I did the opportunity, I got the money, and now I can go get the camera. Like, there's a whole process. I just want to complete the process. But I completely understand Kim of like, no, we're buying food and shoes. We're not buying a camera. She was not in my head about what I was really working on between me and God to try to get my head jump started. So I said, I'm going to the store to buy the camera. And she goes, well, I'm going with you. And then the whole way there, she questioned me, what I was doing. And I kept trying to explain it to her that this has nothing to do with the camera. She goes, well, then don't buy it. And I go, no, I need to buy it because I need to complete this process so I can do it again and again and again and again, because this is going to change the way I think and it's going to change our life. And she goes, some dumb camera is not going to change your life. And so we argue all the way to the store. We argue to the door of the store. We argue inside the store. I go to pick up the camera. She tells the guy what I'm doing. The guy's like, I wouldn't get the camera, dude. Your wife is not happy. And we argue all the way to the counter, and I spend the money on this camera. And I go out to the car, and she's like, so you got the camera. Now what? and I'm that little story, that story changed my life. And after I went home and I took the picture off the wall of the camera, I then wondered, what else should I put on the wall? What else should I visualize? So I thought of the next thing and I put it up there. And I'm completely awkward, right? And I'm like hardly got anything, I'm just like, I'm just this normal person just trying to figure out how to activate my mind. But I put the next picture on the wall and I just worked on that. And then a couple of weeks later, that thing happened. I was like, what is going on? And so I take that picture off and I put another one on, and I put two, and then both of those come off and I put the next one. It's like, oh my goodness, it's working. And it seemed a little frivolous still of like, what's happening? It was a new thing for our family. Now, remember, I'm completely awkward. I don't have any certification about vision boards. I didn't get certified. I didn't take some class, and I'm not like qualified to like teach this, but I'm having some different experiences that I've ever had in my entire life. And then it came time when my wife sat me down and she goes, I don't know if you know this or not, but we need $5,000 by Friday. And I was like, what? And she then showed me our bills. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know we needed $5,000 by Friday. Okay, so I write a note about $5,000 and I stick it on the wall, and she goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm going to get $5,000 by Friday. And she goes, you've never made $5,000 in a month in your entire life. And that piece of paper is going to change this whole process. I said, all these things have happened. There's nothing wrong with putting it on my wall. So then I put it on the wall, this note that says $5,000 by Friday. And every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm staring at that piece of paper, just asking, what do I do? Who do I talk to? What do I need to change about myself? How do I need to do this? And I'm just grilling my brain, trying to like visualize and materialize all this stuff. Friday afternoon, I walk into her office. It was legal, it was moral, and it was ethical. I walk in with a $5,000 check and I put it on her desk, and she just broke down crying. And she's like, what did you just do? How did you make this happen? I said, well, you write it on a piece of paper and then you tape it to the wall. And she's just like bawling, and she goes, you're different. That story, I felt compelled to teach people. So I started telling people I have zero credibility, right? Zero. I'm broke. I'm struggling. I'm behind on my bills. And I'm out there teaching, hey, if you take a picture and you put a piece of tape on it and you put it on the wall, I can tell you what I did. And and it'll work for you too, because I'm normal. I'm like so baseline normal human being with like hardly any training, just a high school graduate. But I looked at this piece of paper and my brain woke up and I could tell you what I did and how I did it. So I started teaching people. And guess what happened in the classes? Like I would gather like 10 people because they would tell their friends like, hey, this dude got $5,000 by Friday and he's going to teach us how staring at the wall with a piece of paper is going to change your life. And people were like, who is this guy? So when people would gather in my home or somewhere at someone else's home, and I would stand and tell my journey of the video camera and the other things, and then the $5,000 thing, people questioned my credibility. They grilled me. They were like, where did you learn this? I go, I prayed. And they go, well, what class did you take? I go, I didn't take a class that was specific about this. I learned some things, and they're like, well, are you certified for this? I'm like, no. Do you have a certificate? No. And some people are like, well, I'm not listening. And they wouldn't listen. And it was like, okay, I'm going to teach it though. And I would teach it and they go, oh, this is worldly. This is, you can't do this. You just can't tell people this stuff. I had so many people challenge my credibility. I didn't know what credibility was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know you had to have all this stuff to like please the audience or please the people. And guess what? I didn't know what it was. And I didn't care. I didn't care. I knew what I learned. I knew it changed my life. And this is type 0 and type 1 of credibility. It's not based upon facts and figures and certifications and classes and all this other stuff. It's a knowing. It's an inside belief system that you know something works, even though you have nothing to back it up. Nothing. But you're talking about it. It's like the core of all credibility is, what do you believe? What is it? And I'd had this experience and something happened to me. And so before anybody else had success, before anybody else had stuff come off their walls or their vision boards or goal posters, before anything happened, I realized I was being challenged by these people. Not all of them. There's about, out of every 10 people, there's one. Okay. Out of every 10, there's one negative doubter who will voice their opinion like, I don't know if you know what you're talking about. But out of every 10, there's at least one, sometimes two, but there's at least one. And so if you got 20 people, there's two in the audience that are just going to question who you are. So, but they're loud and they want to know, what is your credibility? Because you're talking to people and they're concerned that you're going to mess people up. But I knew what I was doing because I was sharing what happened to me, but I had nothing to back it up. So do I have credibility? Is there any credibility in me standing up? What did I say to those people? What did I have to say? I didn't have stats. I didn't have numbers. I didn't have years of experience. I could have said, well, I've been doing vision boards now for 5 weeks. Like, I could have said that, but I didn't know about stacking up my stat numbers. Nobody taught me about credibility. I was just trying to promote what I found was good. And now somebody's questioning my credibility. And it's like, what's up? Why are we crushing this? That's just how some people are. And so here I'm in this place and I'm being questioned. So where did I go? How did I diffuse this? What did I say? How did I work through that and come out of it with more credibility? Because of what I said, how I stood there strong. Now I got to tell you, the very first couple times that it happened, I just literally, I was like, I don't know. I don't have any credibility. And when I said that, the first time I said that, I was like, did I just say that? Did I just say I don't have credibility? Like, what did I just do to myself? I was like, I got to have something. And so, yes, the first couple times I didn't do well and I fell on my face because it was something new, but it bugged me. I was like, you want credibility from me? Okay, I'm going to find it. What do I have? What could I say so that I could Not that I'm trying to shut that person up, but satisfy their question of where is this coming from? And it's okay. It's legit. It's a safety question. It's a safety question. What's your source? Where are you getting this from? But in the beginning, I wrestled against it. So let me show you. I'm going to show you these different credibility types. There's just these different levels or different types that have really helped me over the years know how to build credibility from the inside out. So make sure you have your pen ready or your camera ready as I walk you through this. So this was like my awakening to the whole credibility piece. And so there's the psychology of your credibility. There's what goes on inside your head. And then there's also what goes on the outside of you, like all of your activities and the things you've done, the things you've accomplished. But there's also a credibility that happens inside your head. And that is where the foundation of your strength comes from, to be able to diffuse other people's questions or their cross-examination that they're doing of you comes from the inside. Because sometimes the outside credibility isn't enough and they don't validate it. It's really weird. Even though I've had like thousands of classes and millions of dollars of success and scholarships and all this stuff, I still have people question me. And it's like, what in the world? But when it comes to my inside credibility, that's where I can hush the critics. And I'm going to show you how this works. So when it comes to credibility, the first place that you got to understand what ruins your credibility is doubt of self, or that imposter syndrome, or that negative voice inside that is always tearing you apart. But that's normal. It's normal for all of us. It's normal. And so everybody has doubt in one way or another. But what really makes a difference is the belief. To be able to say, no, I believe in what I'm teaching, and I know that this is going to help, even though I have nothing to back it up with my own years of experience or credentials or any of this. Belief gets to be the beginning point. Because if I have belief, then doubt goes away. But as much as I don't have belief, doubt comes back. You got to know it. They replace each other. So it's like, which way are you going to go? Where are you going to be at? Can you function on half a belief? No, doubt's going to eat you for lunch. It's just going to chew you up. So the first step is to go, okay, if I don't believe in myself, I get to start today. And I'll show you how to layer this so that it works and it builds up this strength inside of you. But we want to be able to snuff out doubt. Because if you're going to move forward, if you don't have belief in who you are, what you do, how you do things, then you're going to sit behind that little tiny wall tomorrow and the next day and next week and next month. And you're going to be stuck behind such a small thing. You'll be stuck behind such a small thing because it's small. Doubt is something to step over. Write that down. Doubt is something to step over. Everybody has it. Everybody wrestles with it. Some people sit behind it because their belief inside themselves is so stinking small, it's a wall. But to others, there's this group of people who they're like, oh yeah, this is totally a doubt. Anyway, I'm doing it. But they see it and they still step over it. You be the kind of person who steps over the doubt because everybody wrestles with it. So you're no different. Just welcome to earth. It's just what happens. But we're the kind of people that we actually step over it because we're like, no, I'm doing this. That's what belief is. I'm doing it anyway. Oh, you got doubt? Oh, yeah, me too. Okay, but let's still do this. Let's go. So what do we call this? We call this credibility type O or type 0. This is foundational, the view of self. Without belief, you're going to get stopped by a grasshopper. You're going to get crushed by the bug on the street because anything will stop you. Anything will stop you. Dirty dishes will stop you. Laundry that's not folded will stop you. A garage that's messy will stop you. Anything will stop you if you've got doubt, if you're small and doubt shows up. So doubt is something we step over. That's just what we do. And that shows us that we have belief in us because we're going to move forward anyway. So this is type 0. We step over doubt and we still take the step of action that we know we're to do. So that's type 0 of these other 3 that I'm going to show you. Now, before I show you these, I have to walk you through a type of thinking. And then I'm going to go through every one of these that has specific steps in each one of these. So you don't want to miss this. Definitely hold tight. You'll get very detailed of what to do for each one of these types. Okay, pause on this for a second. Let's go to some thinking. It's called positioning. Where are you when it comes to the people of this world? Where are you? Psychologically, it is natural to see yourself as last. Why? Well, because when you're standing in line, you're only seeing the people in front of you. When you're driving down the freeway, you're looking forward and you see that you're behind everybody. So in line, you're looking at everybody in front of you. Driving, everybody's in front of you. Your eyes are pointed frontwards. And so there's this psychological thing that happens to us that we're behind. But are we really last? Well, psychologically, we're behind. And so what that means is everybody else is further than us. That's what we think. It's this weird, deep psychological thing that happens to us, is that we're actually last. And so if we're last, it affects the way we do things. And so we start to feel like, oh, I'm not one of them. I can't do this. Or I can't be like them because I'm so far behind. I'm always behind because look at everybody else. And it's this weird phenomenon that happens inside of us. And it's very normal. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real to people that we're behind, because people don't really look at their position in life. They just take it for what's going on in their psychology and that they're last. So if they're last, they start to feel like they're useless. That's what happens. They start to feel like, well, since everybody else is better than me, what am I supposed to do? Or why try? Or they're thinking, oh, all these people have already created all the programs. They've already created all the videos. They've already created all the answers in the world. I can't do anything. Well, I feel stupid when I try because I'm so far behind. I feel like I have no voice, like you can't do anything. What's the use? I feel worthless. Why would people listen to me? Other people are better than me, and I'm not needed. I mean, that's just what happens when we're in this type of positioning thinking. So to have the position thinking that you're behind is going to crush you. It's going to destroy your hopes and dreams and your potential and your motivation. But this is a psychological piece that your brain thinks you're behind. Always thinking there's more people in front of you. Everything's been done. There's nobody for you to teach. There's nobody left. There's no more clients. All the people are being coached by somebody else. Somebody else is always better than me. It's this weird thing. But you need to know that it's true in your brain, but not true in life. It's true in your brain, but it's not true in life. So you feel like you're last. So I'm going to introduce to you a new way of thinking that you start today. If you start this today, you're going to see things start to change in your behavior. But this behavior of feeling like you're last, you're not even going to try. You're going to put things off. You're going to procrastinate, and you're going to turn into a perfectionist because you think you have to be perfect to catch up to everybody else. It's going to drive you to perfectionism, and which is great when it's healthy, but it's terrible when it's unhealthy. Unhealthy perfectionism is destructive. And so either you'll implode or you'll try to be super good at whatever you do, thinking perfectionism is going to get you clients and have people to work with. But that's not the problem. The problem is you psychologically feel like you're last. Just so you know, that's in your head. And I'm waking you up to it. Now, how do I know this? Because this is what I found in me, and it's what I find in my clients when I work with them and I talk to them about this. I coach them on this. I coach them through this to get their head to switch so that they can be productive and get out there and make a difference in the world. And so know that this is real, that's going on inside your head. Even if you don't believe me, I don't care, because it's true. You deep down inside feel like you're behind every day. You always feel like you're behind. You always feel like you can't get enough done. And you always feel like you can't catch up. Where does that come from? It's psychologically because your eyes point forward and you never look backwards, and you don't see that you are actually in the middle. You're not last. This was a game changer for me. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. I'm not last. And I had to start telling my brain, I'm in the middle. I don't need to be out front where all these other people are. I'm just going to say I'm in the middle. This was a growing stage for me to go, I'm in the middle. So what did that do for my psyche? My psyche, when it was like, what do you mean you're in the middle? Yeah, there's all these people in front of me and there's all these people behind me. And my brain was like, what people? And I started looking behind me when I'm driving. I looked in the rearview mirror. I'm standing in line. I look behind me. Oh, there's other people walking through the door. There's other people getting in line. There's other people pulling up. There's other people walking in the grocery store. There's always people behind me, not lower than me, just behind me. I'm in the middle. So I had to change my psyche to go, hey, if I'm in the middle, there's people going where I'm going. There's people heading down the path that I'm going down. And if we're all heading down the path of life, there's people in front of me, there's people behind me, I'm in the middle. This was a game changer. Tell me in the chat box if you get what I'm talking about here, about switching from last to middle. Because credibility, I don't care how many things you add up on your stat list for credibility, and you can have all these cool pictures. Psychologically, if you still have inside your head that you are last, you will hesitate, you will hold back. I don't care how many certifications you have, you will not put yourself out there if you believe that you are last. Because you just won't do the work. Because it's like, why try? It's all this stuff. It's all this stuff comes up. And this is just a fraction of all the junk that goes on inside your head when you have the feeling like you're behind or you're last. So instead of being last, you now decide, and you get one of those whiteboard markers. Write this down as an action step. You get one of those whiteboard markers and you write on your mirror at the top, I am in the middle. I'm in the middle. Okay, so this is a step, right? This is a growing step. So you're in the middle. Okay, so since you're in the middle, let's take a look at something. How many people are there in the world? Actually, let's just go look right at the live counting clock. The worldometer says current population is 8,026,087,524. Anyway, it's always changing. So current world population as of last night when I made this screen was 8,026,000,000. So let's take that number and let's divide it. So if you're in the middle, there's 4 billion people in front of you, and there's 4 billion people behind you. Since you're in the middle, well, minus 1, because that would be you. Oh, wait, there's more people just now born. So there's a bunch of people. So there's 4 billion people behind you. Holy smokies. You are not last. You are not last. You will not be eaten by the tiger because you are not last. You're in the middle. That's a lot of people. Okay. So wait, but is everybody just heading to this star? Is that all there is? No, that's not all there is. There's other things they could head to. And guess what? You're in the middle and you know stuff. You've experienced things that these people have not experienced yet because they're behind you. They're behind you. You're in the middle. So you are between here and here. What? Wait a minute. Maybe you have value. Maybe you could do something. Maybe you could be a tour guide of life. Maybe you could coach people. Maybe you could teach people something that's coming up the trail. Of course you could. You're in the middle. You know something. People that are in front of you are heading towards this, but these people are actually heading towards this too. Everybody's walking down the same path in life, learning the same things, having the same struggles, just different circumstances and different people and different ways it looks, but it's all the same lessons. It's all the same lessons. So you're in the middle, you know something. Okay. So this group of people over here, do we need to even have them in the equation anymore? They could be inspiring, but wait, you probably compare yourself to these people. Now, comparison is good if it's inspiring, but if comparison to the people in front of you crushes you, then Stop it. Get rid of that. If it just crushes you, quit looking. It's just messing with your head. So let's just, okay, if this messes with you, then you just leave it alone. Okay, so now what happened? Wow. Looks like you're in front. What? Hold on. Did we just go from the middle to the front? Wait, I thought we were last. Let's go back here. I thought I was last. No, we created a middle. And then if we realize the people behind us is going to learn from us and not the people in front of us, they're going to learn from me. These people are going to learn from me that are behind me. All these people are going to learn from me because I'm in front of them. I can teach them something. Can I teach them this? No, I'm not there yet. But I can teach them this. What I've got, I can teach them. So I'm going to teach these people what's going on the path to help them. So I'm in the middle, but now that I'm going to focus on the people that are coming up the path, guess what that makes me? That makes me in the front. So I took my brain from last to middle to front. And it was like, what? But then my brain did this. My brain went, wait a minute. Why don't people just work with the person that's over here? Well, it's because the gap is too big. It's just too big. They can't listen to somebody who's up here because it's too far. There's too many lessons to learn along this way. They need somebody who actually will be about right here. They need the next step. This is too big of a step. They wouldn't even understand. They can't comprehend it. They can't digest it, and they can't do it. It's just too big. And so the thinking that your brain will say is like, well, why don't people just go to the big gurus? Because they can't handle it. It's just too weird, too odd, too much, it's just not in their next level of what they're doing. And so they're not going to go to the big gurus. Guess who they're going to go to? They're going to go to you because you're in front. And this is what you tell your brain. This is the internal psychology of credibility, is that I am in front of a bunch of people coming down the path. And do you remember how many people there was? Do you remember how many people? 4 billion people are coming down this path. That's half the population because I'm in the middle. Now, if 4 billion is too much, then we'll narrow it down to 10,000. Okay, so 10,000 people are coming your way. You're in front. You just went from last to middle to front, and we took 4 billion down to 10,000. So you got 10,000 potential clients coming your way. And this is the psychological aspect of credibility. If you don't get this straight in your head, all of your stats are never, ever going to change what's going on inside your head. Stats don't change your mind. You change your mind. So you could get all the stats you want out here, but for some reason, you just can't deliver. You can't do the job. You can't do well, and you can't last. You'll be like a business that goes for 2 or 3 years and then you'll quit. And the reason you quit is because your inside psychology has never been upgraded from last to middle to front. And go ahead and try to find a different answer for yourself about what happens inside your head. I have found this, tested this, coached this, do this. It makes a massive difference in people's lives when it comes to credibility. Okay, so we're at 10,000 people. Okay, now what? You got 10,000 people coming. What? Yeah, you're in front. It's like you got 10,000 people. Now remember, it's actually 4 billion, but we're just narrowing it down to 10,000. And if that's too much, okay, we can change that. Okay, let's go to, let's change this to 1,000. Does that help? 1,000, 10,000, however many your brain can handle, but that's how many people are coming your way that you are the person to teach. Like, I know you didn't ask for it, but by the way, you're in front. And you probably don't want to be that kind of a leader. And you're like, wait a minute, I didn't want to be in front. Well, it just kind of happens. And what puts you in front is experience and the number of years you've been alive and all the mistakes you've made and everything you've learned from those mistakes. It just puts you in front of a lot of people. And to remind you, it's 4 billion, but we're going to keep it here. Okay, so what that means is you have the psychological part of credibility is you are now thinking, I'm in front of 10,000 people. That qualifies me to be a teacher because of my experience, my wisdom, my mistakes, my failures, all my issues, all the stuff I struggled with, everything I've figured out along the way, just like me teaching the vision board class. It's like, hey, I just figured something out. Same thing with you. You just figured something out. But the problem is you haven't quantified it. You haven't valued your experience along the way. And that's why I'm going to walk through the different types of credibility so you can get this organized, because your 10,000, 1,000 people are coming your way. In the chat box, tell me, does this make sense to you to go from last to middle to first? Did you see how that happened? Does it make sense? In the chat box, give me a heads up. Give me a heads up. I'm going to wait. Yeah? Okay. Okay, I'm getting yeses. Okay, so I'm going to roll with this. Okay, watch closely as I go through this. We need to break this down into different types. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so let's go through this. Type 1, we covered that. It's belief. That means you step over doubt. Oh, I have a doubt. Oh, anyway, I'm doing the action step. That's how you build belief. Is you recognize the doubt and you do it anyway. Oh, wow. Hey, I feel like I don't know anything, but I'm still going to do the webinar. Hey, I am still wondering if I can be a good coach, but I'm going to do my practice appointment. You step over it, because the action of stepping over it builds belief. You can't build belief sitting behind doubt. You have to step over that and still do the thing. This is called action. Action builds belief because you did it anyway, no matter what your head was saying over here, right? Okay, so we got that. Credibility type 0 is the foundational level of credibility. Now look at this. Credibility type 1. Type 1. This is the inside game. Why am I doing this? What inspired me to start? Who am I doing this for? What's my plan? What results do I want to see? What drives me to keep going? Who else will benefit? What lasting impact will this have? These are 8 questions to answer. 8 questions to build your internal psychological credibility. This is like, you have belief that's under this. This is the next foundational level of credibility. Now, notice this isn't stats like everything you did so far. This isn't what you did. This is your vision, purpose, passion, mission. This is not, oh, I've held this many classes and I've sold this many and I've given this many scholarships. This is not stat credibility. This is mission credibility. And this is what I go to when somebody questions my stats, or if I don't have any stats. If I have no stats, I have a mission. And this is what I started doing in my classes, is people go, oh, so what's your credibility? Well, let me tell you why I'm doing this. And I literally would walk through this. This is the credibility I would give an audience when I had no stats to give. No sales, no clients, no income, no awards. I would say, and they say, oh, what's your credibility? Well, let me tell you why I'm doing this. Let me tell you what inspired me to start, who I'm doing this for, what's my plan, what results I want to see, what drives me, who else this will benefit when I do this, and what lasting impact I know this will have on others. That's my credibility. And if they still after that say, well, what's your stats besides all that? I go, I don't need anything else. I'm serious. Like you decide this is enough. Did you hear that? Even though they don't think it's enough, you decide it's enough. That's enough for me to stand here. Because I'm standing here, I'm doing this. That's enough. And I was like, well, how long have you been doing this? I started 2 months ago. Oh, so you're only 2 months? Yeah, I'm only 2 months, but did you hear why I'm doing this and who I'm doing this for? See, people today are kind of like, I'm going to call it a weird word, ski-wampus, in that they have to have all these stats and they forget about mission. They forget about purpose. This is the deep down driver of people who last. This is why we're still here as a company. 3 key elements is because we have purpose. We have mission. We have passion. This is what we live off of. This is the energy we feed off of, not our stats. This is what drives me. This is what gets me out of bed. This is what causes me to face my insecurities of being an introvert, and that I still am trying to learn how to spell and speak to people after 18 years. I still do it. Even when I have to ask the audience, hey, can you help me spell this word? It's like, I don't care if I know how to spell or not. I don't care if I don't talk right. I got purpose. And see, this brings out the fire in the belly, the passion in the heart. This brings out the movement energy. And if you, there's a good chance you don't have this credibility organized. And if you don't have this organized, you're going to get crushed by people who are going to question you. And does this matter? I mean, do you do a YouTube video on this? Do you bring this up in a YouTube video? Do you bring this up on your Instagram post? Do you bring this up in your class or you're with your client? Absolutely. Because guess what people don't have? Purpose. People will follow people who have purpose. They want to follow people who are making a movement. This is the movement. This is your movement. You need to get these answers figured out this weekend. Sunday night's the deadline for you to get these answers figured out, typed out, know them, practice saying them. It's probably going to bring up emotion. It's probably going to fire up that fire in your belly of like, man, I got to do this. I gotta really do this. So when I meet people who don't have this, it's like, I don't care about your stats. You're missing the most important part on the inside is you're not stepping over doubt and you don't have passion. Yeah, I'm still trying to find my passion. Well, it's getting crushed by doubt, first of all. And then second, you're not organized with your thoughts. This is more important than stats because stats can't build unless there's something for it to build upon. You have to have purpose before you have stats, or it falls apart. I've seen so many people start and they're going to be a coach, they're going to be a trainer, a facilitator, and they start and then 3 years later, they're gone. It's like, what happened to them? Oh, they decided not to do it anymore. Yeah, because they were only doing it for stats. Stats are an exterior. They're on the outside of you. And some people do things just to look good in front of other people. And if they're doing things just to look good to people, it'll crumble. It will not last. So if you hear somebody not talking about purpose, passion, or mission, you ought to wonder, why are they doing this? What's up? But for you, this is where you build your credibility deep inside you. And if somebody goes to question your credibility, whatever your stats are, you bring up all 8 of these. I remember standing in front of a class. There was 1,000 people in the room, 1,000 people. And this guy raised his hand and he goes, so you're sure talking a lot about some stuff here, a lot of stuff here, but I just need to know what your credibility is. And I knew what he was trying to poke at. And so did I rattle my stats off? No. I went through those 8 things. And the energy, the passion, the purpose, the mission energy came out of me. And at the end of it, he says, that's enough. I got you. He goes, I'll listen to you. I hear it. It changes the heart of the people. And that's what most people don't know about credibility, is that some credibility pieces are for the head, but the foundational principles of credibility are for the heart. You're never going to convince somebody in their head until you change the feeling in their heart. And how do you get to a person's heart? How do you get there? You share what's in your heart. This is the credibility you want to get clear on. This is what will build whatever else you're going to do. The way you get to somebody else's heart is you open yours. And you open it up. And you share why you do what you do. And you don't hold back with your passion. Cool. That's type 1. Type 2 is adding it up. What are the stats? What are the stats? Years of experience, years of education, types of education, research, time and amount, number of clients, appointments, number of kids, number of whatever, number of successes, types of successes, failures, do's, don'ts, pitfalls, myth busting, misconceptions that you can fix, how to adjust along the way. What are the what if scenarios that people should watch out for? And the magical one, if I could do it all over again, here's what I would do. These are the credibility or the head credibility pieces. This is the head. Now you're starting to work on the head, right? This one's the heart. This one's the head. Now, take a picture. If you're writing it down, okay, that's a lot to write down. So get a picture. Good. Okay. So this is about convincing the head. And this is where you're just adding up the stats, looking for numbers, quantifying things you've done, things you've experienced along the way. And some of it's going to feel like, oh, this has no credibility, but just use it anyway, because it's adding things up. And for some people, they need this for their head to be able to go, oh, all right, I see what you're doing. Okay, type 3 is testimonials. This is where the number one is testimonials. So you want to strive to cause a testimonial, because that means somebody else is saying what you do is good. It's another level of credibility. Testimonial, raving fans, ongoing success for yourself, your own accomplishments, your own goals, word of mouth, which means referrals, your client success, positive comments on social media, the number of followers you have, the number of likes you have, the number of subscribers you have. You're always striving to have people like what you do, right? So they get to know you and they like, and now because they like it, they're giving you testimonials and all these other things are happening. So this is from other people. Now, usually your thinking will say, this is where you should start. But notice this is number 3. It's not number 1, it's number 3. Make sure you see that it's number 3. This is the third type of credibility to work on. And this will happen if you're doing type 0 and type 1. This will come. It just will inevitably, naturally happen because you have type 0 and type 1 in place. Type 3 will happen. But if you start here and you skip type 1, right? This is type 1. If you skip that, if you skip type 1 and 2, skip type 1 and type 2, it's not going to happen. But this will come. It'll happen. But you're looking for it, right? You're doing the good work. You're organizing yourself. You're doing a great job. Your content is in order. Your diagrams look good. Your content flows. Your delivery is great. You cause transformation for people. It's beautiful. And you really feel confident about your content and your teaching skills. That's what's going to produce this. Cool. All right, cool. Next. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm going to give you a couple more. So I told you I'm only going to go to 3, but I have a couple more. So type 4 has to do with now you are seen with others. This means other people are recommending you. You're doing summits, collaborations, partnerships, interviews, TV, radio, podcasts, newsletters. You're collaborating on any or all of these or one of these. But now you get pictures and you get other things to show that you hang out with these people or you spoke with these people. And these are opportunities that will come to you if you have type 0 in order, the foundation, you have type 1 in place, you are adding up your credibility, you're going to get testimonials, and now people are going to want to work with you or collaborate with you. And that's another whole nother level of credibility. But do you start here? If you start here and you skip 0, 1, and 2, it's going to crumble. It's not going to last. So remember how this is stacked up from the foundation up, right? Okay, then the next one is credibility 5, which is your ongoing upgrades. This is you being innovative. Now, I know I'm showing you some bigger things here, but just so you know where you're going, ongoing upgrades, innovative, or be more organized, order, accuracy, delivery, client service, systems, processes, your level of communication, the longevity of what you do, and your own unique and originality in how you do what you do. That gives you a whole nother level of credibility to stand out because you're more established now. but it's another level of credibility. Like, doing something for 18 years is a level of credibility. So when you go, so that's type 5. I told you I was only going to go to 3, but there's 2 extra. Like I told you, I'd give you a little bit more. But remember, these right here are the most important. These right here, this is your belief system. And also this one right here is building up your purpose credibility. That's what's going to help you. If anybody ever questions you on any of these other levels of credibility, you always come back to these 2. What you did when you could have quit, and what your purpose is that just builds the fire in your belly. How you step over doubt and how you do it every day. And then the second one here, type 1, is where you literally have purpose and passion about what your mission is. But I love each one of these because it just layers it. But the mistake I see that people make is that they jump on this. They're trying to add up what they've done. And they're like, I got nothing. And then when they feel like they've got nothing, you know what that means? That means now they're back to this whole thinking that they're last because they have nothing. But that's not true. They can have purpose and passion, but that'll put them back here at last. If you try to build your credibility with this being the first thing you're going to do, or if you've been taught, oh, you got to get testimonials right now, that's like, holy cow, you haven't even done the beginning parts. Or even this one of like, oh, you got to get out into being in summits and collaborations. That's going to freak you out. You haven't even done type 1 and 2 and 3. This will be great, but you could struggle with this. You could struggle and it's not going to be as productive. Now, sure, there's the 1% of the human race that can make anything work, but the rest of the 99%, like you and me, is like, whoa, hold on. I got to build this the right way. Build it the right way. Build it this way. And you'll see people trying to sell you on things or try to teach you how to market yourself, and building these collaborations and these other types before you're ready. This is the one, these 2 right here, these 2, belief and this one, acts of belief, and this one is the most important thing to get done by this weekend. So in case anybody ever questions you about what you do, they can't crush you. They can't stop you. Because how do they disagree with this? How do they tell you you can't do this? And even if they did, you just tell them, I'm doing it anyway. It's not going to stop me. It's just not. It's not going to stop me. In fact, here's 3 ways to diffuse it. The first way is evidence. No matter what somebody says to you when they're questioning your credibility, hear their concern, clarify what they're saying, validate their concern, and then share with them credibility type 1 and 2. Just hear them out. Another way to do it is hear their concern, ask them what you wish were more, ask them what they wish you were more qualified in, and then just draw the line and say, okay, well, I'll just share this with you. It's just a different way of approaching and diffusing the moment, but you're still standing there. You're not like quitting. You're not like backing off. And then the last one, hear their concern, ask what they've tried. Hey, I know you're questioning my credibility, but why don't you go ahead and tell me, what have you tried to do to fix what your problem is? You literally are just bringing up their problem going, okay, well, what have you tried? Because what you're doing is you're establishing the fact that I hear you, but let's still get into what's going on. Like, I'm going to coach you anyway. And then what helped you? What worked? What didn't work? And then, hey, can I share some ideas with you? So you're hearing their concern, but you're still going straight into coach mode. So these are 3 different ways to diffuse the conversation, but you can see that step number 1 is always hear the people and their concern. Don't fight back. Listen to what they're saying. But it doesn't mean you should back down. It just means you might have 1 or 2 or 3 different ways to approach this so that they can see they couldn't stop you because your passion and purpose is just too big. It's just too big. And the other thing is you got to remember the thirds. There's a third that's going to really just absolutely love you. There's a third that is going to like you. And then there's a third that are just going to be bugged by you no matter what you do. No matter what you do. I had a class where it was like 900 people in a class. And this gentleman walks up to me and he goes, so you're new at this. And I've been doing it for like, what, 12 years? And I said, well, yeah, I'm still learning. And he goes, yeah, I can tell you're new. You probably need to really reconsider and go do something else. So that was that third. The person right after him walks up and goes, hey, this is like the best class I've ever been to in my entire life. So within 2 people, I had a person tell me I should get a job, should do something else. And then the other person was like, wow, super impressed. I've been to all kinds of seminars all over the country, and this is like the best ever. So funny. These people, sometimes it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious what they come up with, but they're out there. So if you're thinking you're the only one who has somebody who questions you or puts you down or says you shouldn't do what you're doing, we all have it happen. Everybody has the third that just puts down what we're doing. Nobody escapes it. Even all the global gurus can't escape the third that just wants to drag them down. So funny. Sometimes it's not funny, but sometimes it is funny. It's like, what just happened? Like he takes me down. This person's like, hey, this is amazing. It's like, okay. So this portion, this 2/3, that's who's really listening to you. It's even like this webinar. There were people who clicked on and they listened for about 10 minutes and they clicked off. Like instantly they were like, okay, he bugs me. But then there's all these other people who are like, yeah, I'm still here. So it happens all the time. But if you stress about them, you will never get them to like you. It's like, what are you doing? Stop wasting time on them. Do what you know how to do. Share your credibility. Share your passion and your purpose so that these people go, okay, I'm in. These people, they're just going to wander around and just pull everybody down wherever they're going to go. Just let them be how they are. They just got stuff going on in their life. But we do this work for these people right here. These people at the top, they'll actually take action. These people will be like, wow, that was amazing. But these are your action takers, right? The action takers are right here. So if you think you're going to get everybody to like you, you get to correct that thinking and go, no, there's just 2/3 and it's okay. And maybe it's just the third. It's okay. Or maybe it's just one. It's okay. It's okay. Do your thing. Do your thing. There's a lot of people in the world, but truthfully, 2/3 are going to just absolutely love what you do. But when these people go to comment or on your YouTube video or your post on social media or in live, and they come up to say something, what do you tell them? What do you go to? Well, when they go to share it and they're like, oh, I got to tell you, and it's like, okay, this is what I share. I don't give them stats. I don't even wrestle with that. I'm not trying to like convince them. It's just like, hey, here's my mission. Here's my purpose. It's okay that you don't like it. It's okay. Go do your own. Go do your thing. Go out there in the world and do your thing. I'm doing my thing. So just heads up about that. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, other part that I wanted to share with you is how to prevent people from doubting you. They're going to question you like, do you know what you're talking about? So then you focus on describing, whatever the topic is in as much detail as possible. You describe what you see that needs to change. You share what part you play. So number 1 is really like your purpose statement, talking about the topic you are passionate about. You share in number 2 here, share your credibility type 1 and 2 with them if they're open to listening. And another way to help people not doubt you, and not only talking about the topic in as much detail as possible, but number 3 here is, what are the common myths around the topic or the program that you have that you're teaching? What are the common myths? Because when you can bring up how people have misunderstood what it is that you're talking about, it shows some expertise. is when you know where the misconceptions are, where the myths are. It really causes them to go, wow, you know your stuff. Now, I know this is kind of a short, fast thing to bring this up, but let me like sum this up. To look like an expert, you want to know what the problem is and what are the misconceptions around that problem. That's what gives you that expert type of look. Is like, wow, you know what's going on, and you know where people are mixed up in their head about this. When people hear you talk about that, the next thing they're going to want to know is, well, what are the solutions that you know about to make this work? What are those solutions? They're going to want to hear your solutions because you're so good at describing what's not working or what the opportunity is. Whatever it is, you just do it in great detail. Don't jump to just giving people solutions. It doesn't impress people these days. They don't want to listen to somebody who has the answer. They want to listen to somebody who knows the problem. That's where the credibility really, that expertise comes from, is knowing and understand what is the problem. And if you take a look at what I just did for you today, what did I do? I showed you the problems. The problem is doubt. What's another problem I showed you? The problem is your subconscious thinks you're last. What's another problem that I shared with you? Another problem is you don't have, right here, you don't have this list put together. You don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this. So I'm literally showing you what you're missing. And that builds credibility. It shows expertise in what you do. And you can do the same thing. You could show people what's missing or what they need to do to change. And that gives you that level of expertise. And so people, they doubt you less because they can tell, like, wow, she knows her stuff, or he knows her stuff. You know, like that's like, wow, they are really good at what they do. Okay, so where do you start? Write up your type 1 and type 2 credibility journey. I showed you what those are. You got to get those done this weekend. Type 1, type 2. And type 1 is your purpose. Type 2 is your stats. Then your next job is to serve others. That means you're teaching, you're coaching in one form or another, and you are looking to create results to get testimonials. Number 3, you consistently post gold nuggets on social media. If you know something amazing, share it. You're never going to run out of things to share, just so you know. Share, change people's lives. People all over the world are watching and listening on social media. I'll never forget the day a lady from Iraq Facebooked me in the middle of the night and said, hey, I just want to thank you for what you do. And I was like, oh, where do you live? She goes, I live in Iraq. I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, I'm teaching my son everything you're sharing. And we had this discussion back and forth. And it was like, I didn't know I was helping a mom in Iraq with her teenage son who was struggling. It was so cool. And how did that happen? From gold nuggets being shared. And then keep track of your stats. Number 4, every time you do something, you add it to your stats. If you give away a free appointment, if you hold an appointment, if you learn something, if you get a goal, you're always updating your stats in number 4. And number 5, review your credibility stats every day, once a week to empower your belief system. The more you internalize and realize your stats, you will become empowered to do what you do. You have to feed the brain the fuel that moves it. And it says, I'm not last, I'm in the middle, and now I'm in front. I'm in front. Let's go. Let's teach people. Let's coach people. So this is where you start. Get a picture of the screen really quick before I switch it. But this is like super important that number 1 is done this weekend. In the chat box, tell me, will you even do anything with what I just taught you? In the chat box, tell me, are you going to do anything with this? Yes? I want to see your name. Come on, get on there. It's on your Zoom toolbar. And I know some of you aren't going to do anything. You're just like, oh, I'm just here to watch and see what you're doing, Kirk. But come on, there's like, your credibility is sitting in your hands, not somebody else, not even God's hands. You got to do the work, right? Okay, you're going to do it. Shauna says yes. And there's a whole bunch of names that just flew by. I couldn't say them all, but it stopped here. And I'm like, Shauna's doing it. Karen's doing it. Janine's doing it. Alicia's doing it. Callie's doing it. It has to be done this weekend. Why this weekend? Because after the next couple of days, you're going to forget about it. You're going to go back to your same old pattern. You're going to go back to your same old pattern. And it's just a couple days away. You'll forget about this, and then you'll go out looking for another answer. It's just what you will do. It's what you'll do. Okay, guess what I did? I just took up all the time. I'm such a talker. I am such a talker. Okay, I have done this before. I'm going to do it again. Watch what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do something here. I always think that I'm going to just share like a little bit, but I go into a lot of detail here. So here's something that I'm going to offer. You tell me how this would work for you. So tomorrow, let's start at 8:30. Tomorrow at 8:30, I'm going to jump on a Zoom call, and it's going to be just questions. Tomorrow at 8:30. So I'm going to go for like 90 minutes from 8:30 to 10 tomorrow. I'm looking at my calendar, make sure this is going to work. And I got to move just a couple things out of the way to make this work, but it's going to work. So what I did is I just took up all the time, and I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to help you with whatever you're wrestling with. So this is what we're going to do. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 to 10, I'm going to do an open mic conversation where I'm going to answer questions. So Adam, who is my assistant today on this webinar, he's hearing me say this right now. So he's going to put together another Zoom link that's just for you. And he's going to send it out today. That will be for a private Q&A tomorrow. So those of you who are here, you're going to get this. There's no recording for this today. There's no recording for this. But I will do questions and answers tomorrow. And I'm going to give like an hour and a half to it. And so if you would like to participate in that, carve out your time tomorrow from 8:30 to 10, and we will just jump on and we will go right into live questions. And that way I can be able to answer some of your questions, maybe about coaching, about your credibility, about how you're coaching, you're delivering, so I can help you. I want to help you because there's a lot of people out there that need help. There's a lot. So if you'd like to jump in on those question time, watch for the email that my team will send you. It'll have a different Zoom link that you'll click to get on tomorrow morning from 8:30 to 10. And it's not going to be recorded. This is just going to be a private moment between us, just the ones who are here. And I'll do what I can to help you. We'll talk live. We'll answer all those questions. And any questions that you've posted here. Let me see here. Oh, you didn't post any questions here. So you probably were hoping we're going to do live. So that way, that's perfect. So then tomorrow, we'll just jump right into live questions. Is that cool? Okay, let's do that. Because I can move two things and adjust two things so that I can do that and provide some more support to you to be able to help you. Is that cool? Yeah, it's cool. So I really, when I first started, I didn't have somebody to talk to. I didn't have anybody. And when I didn't have people to talk to, I kept trying the same things over and over again, and it just kept causing extra problems. And I know what it's like to have problems. And I know what it's like to wrestle with those problems and not knowing what to adjust. It's really frustrating because time slips by. It gets heavy. It gets discouraging. And when you don't have somebody in front of you to ask, that can be really hard. So that's why I want to do this. I want to help you out. Because when I came into this, I'm like, okay, only talk for an hour. And then time flew by. I just have so much to share. I know. I just love it. And just care about where you're at and what you're going through. Okay. So tomorrow morning, 8:30 to 10, maybe carve out a little extra 15 minutes at the end. We might go just a little bit over depending on the questions for tomorrow. And then I'll time the questions. So one person doesn't take up the whole entire time. We'll do like 15-minute moments. And you know how it is. There's so much you can learn from other people's questions, right? It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Adam will set that up. In fact, Adam, text me right now and tell me you heard all that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Adam's going to take care of that for me. Perfect. Okay. You got your to-do list here of what to do before the weekend's over to get your head straight on your credibility. One other thing I want to share with you before we skedaddle here is another part that you could be struggling with. And I want to make you aware to it, because sometimes if we don't know what we're wrestling with, it can whoop us, right? So let me show you this, what's going on. Inside your head, there is your desire to be successful, and you set goals. Now watch how this happens. You have your thinking of what you want to do. You have your goals. You want this, you set goals here. But then what happens is your results end up here. How come? What happens? Now, as a coach, you're going to want to know this, but also for your personal life, you're going to want to know this too. So if you are thinking here and your goals are here, why would your results hover around right here? Like, what is it that determines that? Well, that is determined by mindset. Mindset is what decides results, not our thinking. Now, there's thinking and there's mindset. Mindset is a setting. It locks in. Even though you're like, yeah, I really want this, it doesn't mean that your setting got moved to that level too. Your setting could be here. And that's why you're getting these results. That's why we can only get the results that we are set to. Even though we are trying, it's still, mindset is boss. It's what controls everything, what we're set for. So if you're like, man, I wish my results would go up to where my goals are, but they're just not happening. Is there something wrong with me? No, it's not something wrong. It's a setting. Now, if you were to move your setting up to this level, guess what's going to happen? Your results are going to go up. So you may have the goal, but you have to have the mindset. If your mindset is down here, your mindset is down here, what happens is results will hover in this area. Maybe they'll spike, but the average will still hold to where your mindset is. This can cause a lot of frustration because you're expecting your mindset to produce that goal, but it can't because it's not there. And you know what this is called? Frustration. If you're frustrated with what you do and how you are and how coaching is turning out, your clients, your content, your delivery, if you're frustrated with, you think it should be better, you think it should be pulling together in a better way, and it's not, and you're like, man, I really want this up here, Kirk, and I really believe I'm in this space, but my results are not there, it's because of this mindset. And you probably have tried lots of different things trying to get this to move so your results will move, but maybe it's not happening. I get that. I totally get this. I went through the same thing when I first started. I was like, why? How come it's not moving? How come it's not happening? And then over the years of the 18 years as I worked on myself and coached other people, I figured out what was missing. I figured out how I can move my mindset as a coach. Now you got to know that being a coach has a lot of different aspects to it. There's a lot of different components to it of how you move the mindset of a coach. So if you're wanting to have clients, like you have a goal of having clients and you want to be in that space and have results of having 10 clients at $2,500 or 5 clients at $5,000. If you want to have those kind of results, you have to look into the mindset of a coach. Now, what would that involve? Well, it involves particular training. And that's what I do now. In my life today, my purpose and passion is to train up and coming coaches who have been working on being a coach in their first 2 to 3 years of being a coach to get their mindset in order, literally in order. Because when you try to jump too far and you haven't taken care of the foundational pieces of a coach mindset, you could jump to marketing. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You could jump to building your program. It's not going to work. You won't build it because you're missing other components. So my life experience, I've put together into this coach fast track program to help up and coming coaches who've been working on being a coach for the first 3 years of their coaching career to get their head in order. So if you are trying to get results and it's not happening, but you're setting goals and you're doing all kinds of techniques and you're all doing all kinds of, motivational stuff, but your results are not happening, is because you're missing the components of a coach mindset. It's different than a regular person's mindset. It's a little bit more complicated. And that's why you see people start out as this coach. They want to be a coach and it doesn't work. It doesn't take off because they literally are missing certain aspects and certain training that helps change the mindset of how they are as a person. Being a coach has complex parts. It's not difficult what this training is. It's just in a very particular order. Because I've seen people get passionate and get excited and get going, and then they crash and burn. And then they quit. They go off and do something else, and they miss out on living their mission. And that bugs me when people give up on their mission. Why are they giving up on their mission? And it makes me not sleep at night because it's like, I've got to help people live their missions. They have a mission. We've got to help them because that mission is going to change people's lives. Lots of people's lives. But their mindset can't handle it. They need help. They need training. So when people think, oh, I'm going to be a coach and I can just all of a sudden be one. No, you can try, but you're hardwired. You're hardwired in certain areas of your mind you don't know about. You don't know what's happening inside your head. I do. I've been doing this for 18 years, coaching up and coming coaches to be great and have clients and last the test of time. If you have low results and you can't figure this out, you need very specific training. And the beautiful part is I put it together in this easy to follow program. It's easy to follow, but the part that took us a year to build, this took us a year to build because I was so particular about the order of the steps. I kept changing it. I'm like, nope, that's not the next step. This is the next step. And we had to keep changing it because it's like, okay, this is where this goes. This is where this goes, because it just had to be the right steps. It's easy to follow, but wow, does it cause a change? Wow. And it's all in order, ready to go. If a person follows the steps, if you follow these steps, you will transform. I can't push you to do this, but I've put it together. And how and what does this do for you? I mean, I don't know if you want to have these kind of stats. Do you want to have these kind of stats? Do you want to have people that you've influenced? Do you want to be a global trainer? Do you want to have lots of clients? You want to do this full time? Do you want it to be your full paying job and career? I don't know what you want, but if you want to finally have results so you can go, okay, I can do this, you need specific training. And every step of the way covers very specific psychological parts. It's not just the information that you're going to get, it's the order of the information that will cause a click to click to click transformation experience as each part of what needs to happen gets in alignment. It comes together. So I love teaching. I love coaching. I love sharing. I love working with people. I love building programs. And you could be really set on an amazing path if you're open to some very specific training. Now, is it easy? Like, oh, it's just a breeze to do this. It's easy to follow. But I'm just going to share right now. It is going to change some of your behaviors. It's going to change what you do into a better level. And if you struggle with change, okay, maybe this isn't for you. But if you're like, okay, I'm tired of this, I want to really change, okay, then this is for you. Because this is how I look at it. There's three different kinds of people. There's the wanderer who's like, yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out my life. They will not do good at this program. There's the wish person, like, man, I wish I could do better. This person will probably get through about phase 2, and that's it. But if you are I want this, I want to get through this wall, I want to change my behavior, it's perfect for you. If you're in that phase of like, I'm ready, I will do what the training asked me to do, I will follow through, Kirk, I want to do this, I know I'm called to do this, then this training will work for you. It's very specific. It is not for the wishers. It is not for the wanderers. It's for those who know that this is their purpose, this is their mission, and this is what they're to do. And if you have been wondering why your results are not happening as a coach, it's because there's pieces missing. There is a psychological part that is missing. Now, if you want to know more about this, go scan this code with your phone right now and go and answer the few questions that I have. There's a few questions that you answer, and then schedule an appointment. And it will either be myself or Cody or Wayne that you'll talk to, and we'll answer all the questions about the Coach Fast Track program so you can hear all the details and you can ask all the questions you want. We just want to make sure you completely understand it before you choose to get into it. Because we want to make sure too that you are not a wanderer or you're just going to waste time here and waste your investment. We like to work with people who are ready to go. They want to build their content. They want amazing content. They want amazing delivery skills that they can get out there. They can change people's lives, cause transformation, and they know that this is their mission. If this is your mission and you are looking to figure out how to adjust your results, this is the program to get into next. But to find out more about it, either go to the 3ke.2 Let's Coach link. And I think Adam is going to post that link right now in the chat box. In fact, Adam, will you do that right now? Go to the link, answer the questions, schedule a call, let's talk. And really, it's an information gathering conversation. We'll answer your questions, give you all the information, and then you can make a decision from there. You'll love it. You will absolutely love it. As long as you are this kind of person who knows what they want and then you know it's your mission. These two, this program will drive you crazy because it's going to cause you to like really excel. These two, there's just not quite the level of commitment and willingness to stretch and grow and really do what it takes. And no disrespect to these two, it just doesn't work for you because you're not decisive. If you want to be decisive and you know, oh, Kirk, it's my mission. Okay, then do this. Let's talk. Let's see if this is a good fit for you. Let's find out. And if it's not, it's okay. Maybe another time in your life, this would work out for you. So either scan this code or go to this link, answer the questions, schedule a call, and then let's talk. Either Cody, Wayne, or myself will jump on the call with you. It's a phone call. And you can be as soon as today or tomorrow or even Monday, Tuesday, jump on a call and let's talk and answer your questions and move. Like, you guys see what's happening in the world, right? You see all the craziness going on in the world. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of people dying. There's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of people who don't know what to do. And they're stressing out. They're having emotional come aparts. They're losing their mind. They're becoming numb. They're becoming even more addicted to whatever they're addicted to. People's problems have multiplied. And people's problems are not going to calm down. They're going to continue to multiply if they don't understand how to take care of themselves. And that's what I would train you on how to do, how to help people in their mind and their emotions. That's what I'll coach you on. It's what I can help you with. So join the whole army of coaches that are really going at it and changing the world, one person at a time, one family at a time, one community at a time. Let's help those parents. Let's help those kids. Let's help these people. But you can't do it if you're just sitting there, blocked by your mind. Be part of the movement. Be part of what's happening. Get off the couch. Get off your social media binging moments. Quit wasting time watching TV and wasting time scrolling through nonsense while people are out there struggling. Get trained and get active in helping people. If you're wasting time, other people are suffering. Is that okay with you? Is that really okay with you? And maybe you're just avoiding what your mission is. All of us are going to die. I just got a text yesterday from a dear friend who passed away yesterday. We're all going to die. And our life is over. When I die, I'm going to die knowing I'm coaching. And I hope that when I get to the other side, they hire me as a coach on the other side. And I have instant employment on the other side. It's like, I just want to continue teaching after I die. And most likely that's exactly what I'll be doing, is teaching. Because I know whatever skills I have, whatever education I have, that's what I take with me. And I might as well have the education and skill that's about helping people, right? Now, I love coaching and I love training. I love all of this, but there's a deeper reason why I love it. I have kids. And someday my kids are going to come to me. One of my kids is going to come to me and say, "Dad, I need help." And thank goodness I've been doing a lot of coaching so I can get good at it, so I can help them. Everybody counts. Everybody's important. But man, I just want to be really good at this in case one of my kids need help. Or what if one of my grandkids comes to me and says, "Poppy, I need some help. Do you know what to do with this?" Yeah, I can help you. I want to be trained and skilled to help my kids, my grandkids, with what goes on inside their mind. Because when a person loses their mind, they lose their life. And then the other huge reason why I love coaching and I love training is because what if my wife comes to me and she says, "Hey, can I talk to you? I want to have the best listening skills. I want to not fix her. I want to hear her. I want to be able to get to the root of the issue, the root of the problem, and not give surface answers to my very own wife and my very own kids and my very own grandkids and my daughter-in-laws. I want to be so well trained that I know where to look to help them. I'm very purposeful in what I'm learning how to do. So if my wife and my kids, my grandkids, or friends come to me, or if you came to me and says, "Hey, Kirk, can you help me? Can you help me with this?" I've been doing the work, doing the study, practicing, fine-tuning my mind so that when that moment happens, I know what to do. That's what I hope for you too, because you're going to have times when your friend or family member or a close relative is going to come to you and they're going to ask for help. And if you've been sitting on the couch and just thinking about this and avoiding it and wandering and wishing, you might not be ready. You might not know what to do. And you're going to wish you had gotten started. You're going to wish it. The problems in the world today are getting closer to home, and the problems in the world are getting in people's heads, and it's scrambling their mind. We get to help. We get to learn how to do it. We get to remove our mental blocks. So if you are in on this type of mission and purpose, and you're ready to learn what's been blocking you and move those things out of the way and get your life organized, then it's time for you to seriously become the best coach that person has ever met. The best coach, whoever it is that meets you. So it's an easy step. Go ahead and scan this code or go to this link and schedule a call. It doesn't hurt to find out. We are not going to pressure you. We are not going to convince you. We just want to find out, where are you in this? And if you're here, it's going to be a great match. You're going to love it. It's going to fulfill you in such an incredible way. It's going to really increase your ability as a coach. But if you're over here on the wander side, don't schedule a call. It's not a good fit for you. Cool. So take a step. Don't just think about it. Do something about it, right? Take a step, talk to us, see what we've got going on here. We'd love to be part of your life, make a big difference, and be able to support you. And then also, I'm going to go back to this other screen here really quick, is the start piece. Hope you got a picture of this or you took some notes. You put on here, you're going to get it done by this weekend, right? Cool. Follow through with that. Build that credibility. This is a very important part of you doing better. Awesome. Love it. And again, would love to share with you what we've learned here or what we put together here in this Coach Fast Track experience. Would love to share with you. So for those of you who can be here tomorrow, I'll be doing that Q&A again from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. Watch for the email. I think we'll even text you that too. I don't know. Just watch for the email and we'll send that to you. And so you can jump on tomorrow. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here. I hope you got some great value. And I checked all the boxes. I fulfilled everything that I had for you and a lot more. So I apologize. We went over 19 minutes, but great insight, right to the point, to support you, to remove those blocks and excuses when it comes to credibility. All right. Just like we always do here at 3 Key Elements, we love you. We thank you. And we're here to share with you everything we learned along the way. Okay. Make it a great day. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow, 8:30 to 10. All right. Love you guys. Thanks.